Hello, fellow Star Trek fans. Welcome back to a brand new episode of 10 Forward. Of course, you are joined by myself and the wonderful Jodi Pickens. Jodi, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing all right, Mike. Getting by.
You know, getting by. Yeah, no, I know that one.
Yeah.
2 more after this.
I know.
2.
Again,
Wow.
I just want more Trek. Let's just be real.
Yes, that's very true. Do you know what? This week's episode, interesting.
That's
it's all I'm going to say. I'm going to say interesting. We're going to dive a bit deeper into the interesting episode, don't you worry.
Yes.
But this week's episode is, of course, titled 4.5 Vulcans. I think it's the episode that most people are looking forward to because of the trailer. And I think they're going to be let down.
Well, this is a layered episode. I'll say it that way.
That's very true.
It's a layered...
I was going to say, with that,
yeah,
let's dive into the episode so we can dig into this a little bit more. Mm-hmm. So let's set the scene. The Enterprise is headed towards shore leave, and the crew is more than ready for a break. Pike's dreaming about camping under the stars. Patel, she's got bigger career moves on her mind. And Una, well, she's staying put, avoiding R&R like the plague. That's where things get a little bit awkward. Over dinner, La'an sets the stage for some serious tension. Spock politely asks if he can join Una and La'an at their table. Una, being Una, says of course, but before he can even sit down, La'an bursts out, "No, you cannot." Spock walks away confused, Una sighs, and we already know this is going to be one of those episodes. Meanwhile, Pike and Patel are sparring in the gym. Literally. She's got the upper hand, and they're joking about their shore leave plans. He wants camping, she wants networking, and in the middle of all of that, she drops the hint that she's hoping to impress an admiral. Then, classic Trek timing, their flirtatious moment gets interrupted. Uhura calls with urgent news. A pre-warp civilization called the Tezar is in trouble. And here's the twist. This planet, the Vulcans once helped out before they joined the Federation, which means the usual rules of the Prime Directive are kind of a little bit fuzzy here. The Vulcans are too far away to step in, so it's up to the Enterprise. But they're going to do this. They can't just walk down as humans. They have to become Vulcan. Who better to handle this challenge than Nurse Chapel? She dusts off the serum that she once used to toggle Spock between human and Vulcan and modifies it for the away team. The results, let's just say painful. Pike, La'an, Uhura, and Ortegas all enjoy the rough transition into Vulcans. Only Pelia shrugs it off, only joking that she's seen worse side effects, and even name drops her misadventures with LSD in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Oh, and yes, last July. Absolute gold. I love that woman. And so, the crew beams down as 4.5 Vulcans. Why the half? Well, Spock, of course, because as he's reminded time and time again, he's not fully Vulcan. It's played for laughs, but it cuts deep, especially for Spock. Now the mission itself, smooth as silk, but when they return to the ship, the serum doesn't wear off. They're still Vulcan, permanently Vulcan, and that's when the real fun, or trouble, begins. Suddenly, Pike is issuing orders in booming monotones. Chapel is dismissing romance as a waste of time. Uhura is dissecting her relationship with cold surgical logic, and, well, the way they stand, move, and stare at people is just pure Vulcan. At one point, Pike declares he needs to minimize the smell of humans in his quarters. It's hilarious, it's cringy, and it's, well, very strange new worlds. But the longer this goes on, the less funny it gets. Because here's the real question. If the logic is this good, this efficient, do they even want to go back? La'an answers that question in the scariest way possible. Vulcan La'an starts modifying the Enterprise itself, casually suggesting war as a logical option. Suddenly, her Vulcan clarity isn't just awkward, it's dangerous. And Spock, the so-called half-Vulcan, becomes, well, the voice of reason. He's the only one that sees without her humanity to balance it, pure logic can be destructive. And, just when things look at their bleakest, who shows up but, well, Patton Oswalt. Yes, Patton Oswalt guest stars as Doug. a Vulcan capture expert, and, well, Una's ex. Cue the fake marriage cover story with Spock and her husband, complete with 2 pretend children and an uncomfortably convincing backstory. The awkwardness is, well, it's like Spinal Tap. It's turned up to 11. But thanks to Doug, they finally find a way to reconnect the crew with their suppressed human selves. From here, the resolution is part comedy, part heartbreak. Pike, Chapel, and Uhura all turn to humanity, and, well, let's just face it, they're horrified by their Vulcan choices. Do you know what comes to my mind for this? It's literally just coming to my brain. It is from Star Trek 09. Are you out of your Vulcan mind? I think literally they were out of their Vulcan minds here. Anyway, Chapel even admits that she understands Spock better now, though she still manages to serve him a terrible soup in the process. It did look revolting. La'an resists the longest, but Spock breaks through with an unexpected tactic. Dance. Yes. A sparring-tuned dance sequence that reminds her of who she really is. It's strange, it's tender, but it does work. We also get plenty of side threats. Kirk and Scotty bumbling into reluctant teamwork, Ortega's chewing out Uhura for brainwashing her into a Vulcan lapdog, and, well, Batel absolutely tearing into the Vulcan admiral at dinner, only to land a career-defining promotion because of it. In true Trek fashion, comedy and character growth go hand in hand. The episode closes with Una sneaking off to rekindle things with Doug, Pike fumbling, apologizing to Patel, and post-credits stinger where Spock teaches Doug about human culture, complete with high fives, slang, and birthday cake. Trust me, it's worth sticking around for. Jodi, strange one.
Well,
Look, there's bits of it I love.
Strange New Worlds.
Well, yeah, it is Strange New Worlds. I can give you that one. Look, there's bits of this episode I love. There's bits of this episode and I just go, ugh, really? And I think, look, watching the trailer, and you get those couple of really short snippets of them walking down the corridor, and they look badass. I think everyone was expecting it to be a kind of... Do you know what? There is an episode of SG-1 that this reminds me of, where essentially they get superhuman powers and go off, do this super, super dangerous mission, and come back again unharmed. And I think a lot of people were expecting something like that. The Vulcan versions of themselves will go off to this super dangerous mission that only Vulcans can do and come back. In reality, we get a relatively naff backstory. We get them beaming down to a planet for a whopping 30 seconds before the mission's done, complete, and come back again. And then it's just a bit naff after that. It just, I don't know. It just, again, bits of it that I really enjoyed, but a lot of it just fell, I just think it fell flat and fell short.
I don't disagree with you. I think at the surface, this episode is classic humor. Like, it's exaggerated and playful, and it tries to be deeply self-aware. I don't know that it always lands on that, but I mean,
yeah,
there's some funny things to this. I mean, and plus, Pelia, again, there just should be an entire series about her, because... Oh,
we just need Star Trek Pelia.
Yes, we do. I'll even take just 3 seasons of it. It's fine. I just want it. But
I'll just take just one 30-episode season. That's it. That's all we need.
That's all we need.
We just need one 30-episode season.
Half of it can be in her quarters. It'll be fine.
Yeah. But that could be one hell of a treasure hunt.
Right? I mean, the fact that Vulcan Pike removed the chairs from the ready room for efficiency because sitting wasted too much time, and Chapel ending all those relationships very coldly so that she could have more time to science. I mean, some of those parodies of what real Vulcans are, they were funny to see from our characters.
Yeah.
But it's surface level. It's very surface level. And I think this episode, like maybe a few this season, maybe more than a few, are going to divide the fandom pretty strongly.
Oh,
because, look, if you just watch this episode at that and take it as a comedy and a parody, then yeah, there's some laughs in there. There's some good stuff in there. And there is some character development that happens here. I think around La'an and Una especially.
Yeah.
I mean, I also like the fact that we had a Vulcan named Doug. because his parents were a little eccentric, and I mean, that's funny. It's just
yeah. But on that note, I felt like that Doug was underutilized. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, look, if you'd let Patton Oswalt go nuts on that character, that would have been one hell of a backwards, quirky, strange character, and it would have been gloriously awesome. But I felt like it was restrained. It was borderline boring.
It was,
his character was borderline boring. The only bits that spiced it up was the relationship with Una.
Right, and I mean, major kudos to Rebecca Romaine. That performance was fantastic from her. I enjoyed seeing this side of Una. We've never seen this from her outside of, I mean, right, as of before today, the best episode we'd seen with her was her defending herself in Ad Astra, right?
Yep.
I mean,
absolutely.
that courtroom drama was intense, and she played that amazingly. But this was fun. It was fun to see Una out of control, unable to control a natural human chemistry with Doug, the Vulcan.
Doug the Vulcan.
Doug. Oh, so I mean, yes, there's some fun to be seen in this episode, and it's okay to enjoy this episode at that level.
Yeah, absolutely. I just feel that, you know, we had some really great character moments. We had, you know, the bits with, you know, we had La'an and Chapel's sub stories. They were fantastic. La'an's, especially the fact that she does turn into this kind of slightly bonkers, crazy scientist. I'm going to start a war because it only makes logical sense. I love that, and I thought that was really good. But
and
again,
I love that they leaned into her like relationship to Khan, like her heritage to Khan, and her augment, you know, things like that was interesting.
But it was only surface level. It was episode specific. That's not going to carry on through the rest of this character outside of this episode. And I think
we might get a
lot of it.
Yeah, we might get a one-line reference because that's how we character build now.
Yeah, I know. But I think that's where this episode falls short.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
There's no long-term character development here. It's all very short-term, episode-specific. We're never going to hear of this ever again. I mean, you know, compare that to these old scientists or those old scientists. We're still referring back to that, you know, a season later.
Well,
you know,
I think
2 years later.
Yeah, and I do believe, like, if I have a dislike for this episode, it's the subcontext of this. There's a subcontext that's good. Like, this is about our emotions as humans are necessary. That's what makes us inherently human, right?
Yeah.
I get that. Plain as day. Got it. But then there's this other issue that I take with the episode, and there's a lot of the isms that it doesn't deal well with, and it's racism and bigotry and transphobia and, I mean, ableism. It's all there at some point, and those are issues now in this world. You know, we are facing them globally at some level, and some places more than others. And I get that, and I know that we expect from Trek more. Like, we want to see a better version of this. But then I step back a little bit and I say, well, maybe if this was intentional, which I don't know if it was, but if this was intentional, then maybe it's making us think about now. And maybe I'm just trying to find a positive spin on this, and I'll accept that. That's what I do. It's who I am. But I hope that we as a fandom can watch this episode, and the issues we take with it, or any of the episodes that we watch, that it gets us talking. And if it does fire us up, then let's take that away from Trek and use it to make things better in this world, and to fight those things. And I know so many of us are doing that, and I get that. But I have to believe that Trek is pushing us. I just have to. Yeah. And I hope it is.
No, I agree with all of that.
Yeah. So it's got some issues, but I hope we can turn those issues into...
Don't we all?
Yeah, something better.
Some more than others, but don't we all have issues?
Oh, we all have issues. Me, I've got more than enough.
Yeah, exactly. So I think I agree with you on the standout. The standout for this episode is definitely Una played by Rebecca Romaine. The sheer amount of character development and growth we got this week was brilliant. The fact that we kind of got this backstory that she was dating Doug, and that's the reason why she didn't want to go on shore leave and why she was staying behind, and actually the fact that we had to call him anyway because he's the only thing with that is it's a little bit predictable.
Oh, it is a lot predictable, but is that playing into the comedy thing? Well, you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of standard serialized comedy, isn't it? Like, just this weird tongue-in-cheek thing. I mean, here we are with Doug the Vulcan, which is funny in and of itself. And then you've got Rebecca Romaine as Una, who cannot even keep up the facade of being number one and the queen of Starfleet.
She turns into a babbling little schoolgirl.
She does, and it's awesome. I mean, their compatibility is illogical, but they have this undeniable chemistry, and it's wonderful. It's wonderful to see that from her, and the interactions and the confusion on Spock's face about what's happening between them. Funny.
That whole little skit about, this is my husband. We have 2 quarter Vulcan children, and that was great.
That was
one of the
funny.
best parts of the episode. But I mean, Una's definitely the standout here. In what is quite a mixed episode.
And I think La'an could have been if there had been more time spent on that character.
Yeah, I agree. I think for me, it's just that backstory. It's the whole thing with Doug. Just kind of tipped it over the scales for me.
Oh yeah. Agreed.
So to recap the episode, then 4.5 Vulcans is a laugh out loud funny, but it's also thoughtful. It asks, what's the cost of stripping away our humanity in the name of efficiency? What do we lose when we shut down emotion? And maybe, most importantly, what does it really mean to belong? When even half a Vulcan is the one thing reminding everybody how to stay balanced. At the end of the day, Strange New World shows us that once again, being human, messy, emotional, and logical isn't a weakness, it's a strength. This week's episode leans into comedy again, but let's face it, with mixed results. While Strange New Worlds has succeeded with genre swings before, this Vulcans Gone Wild concept struggles to land its laughs. Spock takes a backseat as the rest of the crew adopts exaggerated Vulcan personas with varying levels of success. Patton Oswalt guest stars as Doug, the human curious Vulcan, but I just feel that his role is underused. The central gag, Una being strangely attracted to him, starts awkward and never really quite recovers. But Carol Kane's Pelia remains a highlight once again, as she always does, delivering great deadpan reactions to the logical madness. The premise recalls classic Trek transformation episodes, but this one sticks to surface level comedy. Only La'an's storyline hints at deeper stakes, blending her augment past with Romulan imagery and emotional restraint. Unfortunately, most of the episodes focus on romantic hijinks and exaggerated traits rather than meaningful arcs. There's fun to be had if you're on board, with the absurdity, but logic gaps and hair heightening serum, mainly others scratching their heads. Still, the commitment to episodic weirdness is admirable, even if this one misses more than it hits. Let's face it, the episode is light, silly detour with a few good laughs, but lacking the heart and charm that usually grounds Strange New Worlds. With only 2 episodes left, the real action can't come soon enough. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode of 10 Forward with me, Mike, and Jodi. Remember, you can catch up with more Clone Star Podcast at our website, clonestarpodcast.com, and remember to like this video, hit subscribe, and click the bell icon so when you get notified about our next upload. But until next week, live long and prosper.